Today, we are diving into one of the most compelling and confusing medical frontiers: the use of stem cells for autism spectrum disorder. If you've been following autism research, you know the search for effective interventions is intense, especially given that prevalence rates are now estimated at about 1 in 31 children in the US. But how do we separate the genuine promise of regenerative medicine from the overwhelming hype? Let's break down the science, the data, and the warnings you need to hear. First, let's tackle the big question: why stem cells for autism? Unlike diseases like Parkinson's, autism is generally not about cells dying off. The theory here is completely different. Researchers are primarily interested in stem cells for their powerful ability to regulate the immune system, specifically in the brain. Recent studies suggest that many individuals with autism experience chronic neuroinflammation. Think of it as an overactive immune system within the brain, involving specialized cells called microglia that are constantly on high alert. This is where mesenchymal stromal cells, or MSCs, come into play. The crucial thing to understand is that MSCs don't necessarily grow into brand new brain cells. Instead, they act like tiny, personalized mobile drugstores. They release powerful anti-inflammatory signals, a process scientists call the paracrine effect. This effect is designed to calm that persistent inflammation, which in turn might improve how existing neurons connect and communicate with each other. It's all about creating a better, calmer environment for brain development. Now, if you're researching this, you need to know that not all stem cells are created equal. In clinical trials, we typically see two main types being studied for autism. First, there is umbilical cord blood. This is rich in hematopoietic, or blood-forming, stem cells. Major trials, especially those conducted at Duke University, have focused on this type, specifically hypothesizing that it can reduce global inflammation. Second, and currently the focus of intense study, are mesenchymal stromal cells, or MSCs. These are often derived from the umbilical cord tissue itself, the substance known as Wharton's jelly. MSCs are highly favored because they are immune-privileged, meaning they generally don't require complicated genetic matching between the donor and the patient, making them much easier to use safely. So let's look at the hard data. Does it actually work? The most rigorous data we have comes from the Duke ACT study, which was a large, placebo-controlled Phase 2 trial involving 180 children. The results, frankly, were mixed. When looking at the study group as a whole, the cord blood infusion did not show a statistically significant improvement in socialization skills compared to the placebo. In simple terms, for the average participant, it didn't seem to move the needle much. However, the researchers made a very important discovery. They found a specific subgroup that did benefit: children aged 4 to 7 who had a higher nonverbal IQ. Specifically, over 70 showed clear and measurable improvements. These gains were seen in areas like communication, eye-tracking attention, and overall brain connectivity. This strongly suggests that stem cell therapy is definitely not a simple one-size-fits-all cure. Instead, it might only be beneficial for individuals with a specific biological profile or those who meet certain developmental criteria. It's a precision medicine approach, not a blanket solution. Despite these nuanced academic findings, a huge commercial industry has exploded globally. If you look online, you'll find clinics worldwide, particularly in places like Panama, Mexico, and Serbia, aggressively marketing MSC therapies. They often report success rates of 90% based on their own observational data, citing improvements in things like sleep quality, digestion, and hyperactivity. These are functional gains, which, while valuable, are not the same as a cure for autism itself. But here's where you must proceed with extreme caution. If you are in the United States, stem cell products for autism are absolutely not FDA approved. The FDA has repeatedly issued stark warnings that unproven therapies carry significant risks, which include severe bacterial infections and, alarmingly, the potential for tumor formation. The regulatory hammer is starting to fall hard. This tells us the government is serious about policing this Wild West environment. Do your homework. Looking ahead, the landscape is changing quickly. Late last year, the U.S. government announced new initiatives to tackle the autism epidemic, which signals a potential future expansion for experimental treatments. The National Institutes of Health has also launched the Autism Data Science Initiative, hoping to use AI and massive data sets to better understand the disorder's biological roots. The goal? To achieve better patient stratification, meaning figuring out exactly which children will respond to cell therapy before they undergo any treatment. This is the future of responsible medicine. So, if you are a parent researching this for a loved one, experts recommend asking these 3 critical questions. Number 1. Is this a registered clinical trial? You can check clinicaltrials.gov to verify any claims. Do not rely on commercial clinic websites alone. Number 2. What is the exact cell source? Avoid any clinics that are using what they call dead shelf products. You need live, properly processed cells that are traceable. And number 3. Are there verifiable safety protocols? Look for board-certified physicians and insist on image-guided delivery of the cells to ensure precision and minimize risk. Ultimately, stem cell therapy represents a thrilling frontier of possibility, but right now it is still experimental. While some children in controlled trials show promising gains in communication and brain connectivity, widespread commercial claims of a cure remain scientifically unsupported and potentially dangerous. Stay informed, stay safe, and always consult with your child's primary physician. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe.